Hello everyone, Jeff here again. Still with a slightly off voice. But this is the best I've sounded in the last 2 weeks. Going on 3 weeks. So, I don't care, I'm giving it a go because I got a Spin Zone video to put out here. I got a bunch of records to show. Actually, I've got 10. But this is going to be kind of weird because 9 out of the 10 were listened to back before I got sick. So like 2.5, almost 3 weeks ago is when I actually played these records and listened to them. And before I put them away, you know, on a more semi-permanent basis, I set them off to the side next to my stereo. And then that's how, you know, I just keep track of how many I've been listening to and what. And once I get, you know, at least 5 or 6 or more, I collect them all up and then do one of these spin zones and then I put them away. So these albums have been sitting on the bench for that long. I basically remember what they were like. So this could be a very quick video. Depending, we'll see. So let's get right to it. And this is all one take. I listened to a interview this morning with Hal Blaine. He was he died on Monday. He was 90. He was one of the most famous session drivers ever. He was a member of the Wrecking Crew. And he's played on countless #1 hits and other songs that you've, I'm sure, heard of throughout, you know, the 60s and 70s and probably even into the 80s. But anyway, getting to my point, he talked about a session he did with Frank Sinatra. And with those sessions, he said it was usually a 3-hour session with anybody else, but with Frank Sinatra it was a 6-hour session. And he said the first 3 hours was just nothing but rehearsing, getting everything down right, getting everything set, the mics, making sure nothing would creak, everything was hooked up properly and sounding good, and they would run everything through. Then they'd take their lunch break after the first 3-hour session, come back for the second 3-hour session. Frank would come walking in, already set, already ready to go right into the vocal booth, and they would start recording. And he would do everything in one take. He said it was very, very rare that Frank would want to do a second take. But he was talking about the Strangers in the Night song that he played on, and that's exactly how it went. Frank went right in, stepped up to the vocal mic, they started the tape rolling, everybody started playing, and he sang it in one take. I'm not saying these videos of mine have that same level of preparation, but good or bad, right or wrong, unless something disastrous happens, you see it all in one take. I don't do do-overs. So, all that said, Strange Days was the first record I listened to way back. This was VCLT from Hannah. She sent this to me. It's a very nice copy, very clean copy, and this helps expand my Doors catalog a little bit. And of course, many of the Doors' best-known hits on here, like the title track, Strange Days, Love Me 2 Times, People Are Strange, and of course, When the Music's Over takes up almost half of the second side. And it is a truly epic track. So, all in all, a really great listen, so thank you, Hannah. I used to really like the Doors, like when I was in high school, and then later on in my 20s and 30s, I kind of didn't like them because I thought they were like overrated and a little, you know, like posery type. But then that passed, and then now I'm back to liking the Doors a lot again. So this came at a pretty good time for me to want to get back into them a little bit on vinyl. So this was a good listen. This next album was also VCLT. It was from Andrew. Tales from the Crate. It's called The Crust of Humble Pie. And there's Peter Frampton right there. This is from when he was in the group. And he actually sings lead, I think, on the song Take Me Back. This is just the back cover here. But, boy, what great late 60s British blues rock. This is fantastic stuff. And I watched Andrew's latest video about the deep cuts, Give Me 10 Deep Cuts. It was like his second video on that subject. And he brought up the band Free. I suspect Free and Humble Pie sound a lot alike. I've never heard Free beyond, you know, All Right Now, and I don't even know if they had any other hits beside that, but I suspect those records would sound very much like these, because I kind of want to get those too, and I kind of want to find more of these early Humble Pies, especially with Frampton. So you did it to me here, Andrew. You got me on another on another trail that I want to go down. So thank you for that. But this was also a very, very good listen, very nice, clean copy. So thank you very much. Going back to Hannah again, she sent me a Prince album. This was also VCLT. And I played this one night, I think, with listening to it with my wife very loud. And I Want to Be Your Lover's on here. What are the other hits? I Feel For You. Of course, the original version that he did before Chaka Khan covered it. And Prince is another one that I didn't really like him a whole lot, you know, early on, like when I started listening to him. But as I got older, I started liking his stuff a whole lot more. So this was another good album for me to get, not only to expand my Prince catalog, but just to get more exposure to his music, because these days I really enjoy Prince's music. So thank you for that, Hannah. This was another good pick to send me. Going back to Andrew now. This was another album that he sent me. This is going to be like an all VCLT spin zone practically. It Serves You Right to Suffer by John Lee Hooker. This was a slam dunk. I mean, this was actually one that was on my list that I wanted to try to find at some point, because I know this was Andrew's one of his favorite albums from John Lee. So I was very, very, very pleased to see this when I got his VCLT package. And boy, what a great album. The only thing that's a little bit off on this, the only thing that, you know, where it's like, what thing doesn't fit with the rest, is that he covers the song Money. You know, That's What I Want, that song. And it doesn't really fit with this album, because the rest of this record is just him playing like these dark, intense blues songs, you know, and he's got, you know, John Lee's got such a deep, powerful voice, accompanying himself with his guitar, you know, playing these intensely emotional, painful blues songs. And then right at the end, like the second to the last track on the second side, it's like almost like a pop version of Money that he plays. It just doesn't fit. I mean, it's good, but it seems like it just belongs on a different album. But other than that, this is a really fantastic record. And this is one that's going to be getting many more spins in the future. I almost played this one again before I made this video just to refresh my memory, but I want to do this first. So I'm probably not going to put this away right away. I'm probably going to play this a couple more times before I do. But like if you're looking to start getting into the music of John Lee Hooker, this would be an excellent place to start. It Serves You Right to Suffer. This is really good. Okay, after that, we have Time of the Zombies. Now, this is a compilation. This is like it's a double album, but the first album is broken down into the first side being like their greatest hits. So you've got Tell Her No on here. She's Not There, of course. You Make Me Feel Good. That's all on side one, and that's in mono. That's pressed in mono. Now, the other three sides are pressed in stereo. So side two is basically a bunch of unreleased tracks that were supposed to be on, I guess, an album that was going to come out after Odyssey and Oracle, but never was completed. From my little bit of internet research, that's what I was able to find. So that makes up side two. And then the entire second record is the Odyssey and Oracle album, the whole album. So I bought this because I've been trying to find Odyssey and Oracle for a while now. You know, I was in a bunch of eBay auctions, and I just couldn't really seem to find it elsewhere online. I don't know if this was reissued recently, but other reissues that I found were just too expensive, and I was just like, no. So I found this on eBay for a very reasonable price. This came out in the early 70s on Epic Records, and it sounds fantastic. So this is pretty much all you need if you wanted to get into the music of the Zombies, you know, unless you wanted to find Odyssey and Oracle on your own. But it's in here. So, and of course, Time of the Season closes out the album. And that's probably one of the greatest pop rock tracks ever made, in my opinion. So, this was here's a back cover. This was a very good, very nice clean copy, a very good listen, and highly recommended if you wanted to explore the Zombies music in kind of an all-in-one type of package. This pretty much gives you everything you need as far as the Zombies go. Time of the Zombies. Then we go to the back of the crate. I'd had this record, I think I bought this record or got it around the holidays in 2017, I think. That was not long after this came out. This is Colors by Beck. And this is the red vinyl version of the album. So I forgot who was playing this record, or somebody. I saw this pop up in somebody's video, and it reminded me that I had a copy too. So I dug my way through the crate, and it was towards the back, so I pulled it and I played it. This album is good, but it's very much of the present. It's not like one of Beck's more timeless sounding albums. I suspect this is going to sound dated after a while. This is Beck being trendy, which isn't a bad thing. You know, I enjoy Beck's music greatly, and I wish I had more of his albums in my collection personally. But this was good, but I think my kids might like this more than I did. Yeah, I don't really know how else to put it. It's it just sounds like all the stuff that you would hear on, like, I don't even know if there is Top 40 radio anymore, like Hits Radio, you know, new stuff. It just has that electronic, glossy sheen all over everything. Of course, Beck makes it his own, which is, you know, perfectly fine. But this is certainly no Odelay. Not by a long shot. I mean, it's still worth listening to. It's still decent. But I suspect in the years to come, this one will not age well. Just my opinion, but other than that, I liked it. I just wasn't blown away by it. I think I'm just too used to listening to Beck's older material that really has stood the test of time. So my opinion is this probably won't. Still worth listening to, though. I'm still glad I have it. I like having any kind of Beck in my collection. And then after that, another Back of the Crate pick. The soundtrack to the movie Streets of Fire. If you've never seen Streets of Fire, that came out in the mid-'80s, I think, like 84 or 85. And it's this weird movie. It's kind of like part Blade Runner, part like 50s noir retro movie. I remember parts of it. I especially remember the end where Michael Pare, who, that's him right here, is fighting Willem Dafoe with sledgehammers. They're like swinging sledgehammers at each other. And here's the back cover while I'm blabbing about this. You know, it was a decent movie, and was a decent soundtrack. I mean, basically my favorite song off of this is I Can Dream About You. I think that was the biggest hit that came off of this album, but a lot of the other songs on here, like One Bad Stud by the Blasters, you know, that's good retro 50s type song. Tonight Is What It Means to Be Young. That was a great 80s track, and it sounds it too. You can definitely tell it came from the 80s. Ry Cooder plays Hold That Snake. The Blasters also do Blue Shadows. So it's part dated 80s and part retro 50s type of music. Interesting combination. But for me, still my favorite track on here is still I Can Dream About You. That's such a great song. And that one seems to be more timeless than anything else on this record. So, and this was one I found in a estate sale way back when for a couple of bucks. It was like brand new, so I just figured, what the hell, I'll grab it. Streets of Fire soundtrack. This was a good one. And we go back to the Back of the Crate yet again for a Fleetwood Mac album. This one's called Kiln House. And this was the first album where Christine McVie joined the band, I believe. There's the back cover. Let me look inside the gatefold for the personnel. I don't know if Bob Welch was in here or not. No. We still had Danny Kerwin on guitar. We still had Jeremy Spencer on guitar. Mick Fleetwood, John McVie, and Christine McVie. Right? I know she did the cover for this album. I think she played on this too. But I might as well show you the gatefold instead of hogging it to myself. Pretty nice gatefold. But this was, you know, after obviously Peter Green left the band. They were still trying to find their way a little bit. And it's kind of like a transitional album, because once Bob Welch came on the scene, he took them in a different direction, more of like a softer, middle-of-the-road type of sound. This is still more bluesy, rocky, so very enjoyable listen if you're into the early bluesy Mac period. So, Kiln House by Fleetwood Mac is a pretty good listen. I think I still have one more Fleetwood Mac album at the Back of the Crate to listen to that I need to just pull it and play it. And speaking of great blues music, the Jeff Healey Band, See the Light. This was his first album. And boy, oh boy, this is an awesome, awesome album. Jeff Healey, along with, you know, Stevie Ray and To a lesser degree, Robert Cray was one of those guys that came along in the later 80s that played that hot guitar, that hot blues rock guitar, the way a lot of the guys in the 60s and 70s did. So for kids like me that were coming up in the 80s, who wanted to have, you know, guitarists of our own to follow and worship and play over and over again, Jeff Healey Band was a godsend. Here's the back cover. And the cover is textured too. I love those textured covers. And of course, Jeff Healey was blind, and this was the way he played guitar, with it on his across his lap like this. But man, could he play. And just listening to the first track, which is Confidence Man, which I think was a radio hit. I know I heard it on the radio a lot. Man, what a smoking track. Almost every track on this album is just fire. I think with the exception of Angel Eyes, that's the ballad. And I know that was a hit for him. But Blue Jean Blues, great, great track. See the Light, which is the title track, is fantastic. Hideaway, another one. You can just go down the list. And man, this guy could play. I was very, very sad when he died in, like, what, the early 2000s? Very, very sad about that. Because he was one of the ones that gave me hope for the future back then. I also have his second album on CD, which is called Hell to Pay. And he did a song on there called I Think I Love You Too Much. And I know Mark Knopfler guests on that track too. So, but this album here, front to back, is just fire. So if you can track this down, if you haven't heard of any of Jeff Healey, you need to, because he is fantastic. He was also the house band in the movie Roadhouse, which is one of my favorite cheeseball movies ever. I have the soundtrack to that too, and the majority of that album are Jeff Healey Band tracks. So, can't recommend this one highly enough. See the Light by Jeff Healey Band. Really, really good stuff. And finally, just this morning, I finally listened to the Byrds' Greatest Hits. I Frankensteined this one. I took the record that Beth gave me, but this was the cover that I bought at the estate sale because this was in nicer condition. So I just put the two together. And this will be the last time I'm showing this record. I know this is like the third or fourth video in a row where I'm showing this dang thing. But I finally played it this morning, now that I'm feeling good enough to want to pay attention to music again. And for the most part, I knew these songs. I mean, I knew Mr. Tambourine Man. I'll Feel a Whole Lot Better. I actually knew from Tom Petty covering it more than the Byrds doing it. Turn, 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 of course, I already knew. All I Really Want to Do Is Be Friends With You. That's another track that I sounded familiar when I heard it. And of course, 8 Miles High. That's probably one of their biggest hits. So You Want to Be a Rock and Roll Star. I think that was another one that Tom Petty covered. I think he covered it on his live set, which I also have. And of course, My Back Pages. They covered a lot of Dylan. So, really great stuff. Really great mid-60s, I guess folk rock they called, the Byrds. But to me, it seems like these guys invented jangle pop, didn't they? Anna, what do you think? I mean, just Roger McGuinn's 12-string is all over just about every single song, and it just gives it that distinctive Byrds sound, which is very jangly. And going back to the beginning of this video where I talk about Hal Blaine, he actually played drums on, I think, Mr. Tambourine Man and Turn, Turn, Turn. A couple of these tracks he played the drums on instead of the actual Byrds themselves. Just a little factoid that popped out of my head. So, yeah, I was very glad to finally be able to play this, finally be able to listen to the music, and if I come across any more Byrds in the future, I will make sure to grab them. So, this is a great place to start. Okay, there you go. 10 albums done. The only other thing I want to say is that I haven't been able to get in touch with Mr. Hall of Fame. He's the one that won my contest yesterday. I haven't heard from him yet. I don't know if he's even been on the VC since yesterday or whenever, but if anybody out there has a way to get in touch with him, would you please get in touch with him and tell him that he's won my contest and to go to my video, and he can get my email address there. I left it in the description because I don't want this prize hanging out, you know, in the ether, so to speak. I want to make sure it gets to him. So if anybody out there has a way of contacting him, because I don't, I left a comment on his most recent video. That was the only way I knew how to get in touch with him. So if anyone has that ability, do me a favor, please, and get in touch with him and tell him to contact me so I can get him his prize. Okay. That's all I got for now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for putting up for my rough voice. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you all again soon. So take care.